MMA Fancast, and a big Merry Christmas to everyone out there. My name's Luke Payson, and this will be our final video and interview before Christmas. So Merry Christmas to everybody. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe. Welcome back to those who've already subscribed, and a big welcome back to GOAT James Padmore, coming off a huge TKO victory at Brawl in the Burgh 19. GOAT James, welcome back on the show.
Thank you for having me.
It's absolutely incredible to have you. You put on a wonderful performance over Chris Hustleton. You guys knew of each other because you competed at and competed from kind of local gyms. You got a huge TKO victory in the third round from ground and pound. This was your first time you could use ground and pound. But before we get there, let's start with round one because we got 3 rounds to cover. Walk us through what went down from your side in round one.
Just chaos. Hustleton's a tough guy. He just came out, wasn't afraid at all. Cut the cage off and just started, hucking away. Luckily he ran out of steam and I was able to lean on him a little bit, take him down, use that ground and pound. The first round was like, it was like 50-50. Some people say he might have won. I definitely think I won that first round. I think I won every round, to be honest with you. He was my toughest fight yet. So,
and it was probably in many ways a great fight for you to start showing your wrestling, grappling, and jiu-jitsu. Your coach, legendary coach Mike Wilkins out of Stout Pittsburgh, told me probably about a year ago you had a fight coming up, and I was talking to him, and he said that your best skill set is jiu-jitsu, and that was saying something coming from him because at the time you had 2 wins by 2 knockouts. Now you've had 4 wins by 4 knockouts, but at the time I asked him, "What do you mean?" And he said that you're just so good at knocking people out, you never kind of get to show your ground skills. So what was it like, taking him down, working some ground, even before we get to the ground and pound? What was it like being in there in the grappling wrestling component of MMA?
I felt at home. Believe it or not, I did some things in the cage that I don't practice. The body lock into the sweeps and stuff like that. Like, I don't practice that stuff. Like, Mike shows us double legs, single legs, the basic stuff. And for some reason I just gravitated to, the double unders into like the sweeps and the trips. So that might be my thing. Who knows? I'm so sorry. What did I answer your question?
Of course you did. Yes, actually, you always do a great job on these interviews. I appreciate you coming on. That actually makes a lot of sense. And there's something to be said for, currently right now, Coach Mike and Coach Will and your gym are coaches of the year and gym of the year for another week until the end of 2023. And this is a great time to plug the fact that 247 Fighting Championships yearly awards will be voted on soon. They'll put out a post, and last time it got thousands of votes, and your gym won gym of the year as well as the head coaches of the year. So it's great. I mean, Stout is a great gym. Obviously, the Mat Factory is a great gym. There's lots of great gyms. But what's cool there, and you really answered the question, is there's a difference between what you train and sometimes what works in the cage. And so obviously Mike Wilkins knows his double leg and single leg. It's just cool that you've developed your own sort of in-fight technique. And who knows, it might end up being something that you incorporate more. It might end up being something that gets reverse engineered in Stout to be, used in some of the other people's fights. And so very, very exciting overall. Walk us through the finish. Now we're in round 3. You took him down. Can't remember the exact setup, but remember you got full mount, which is never a good time. You got for the opponent. For you, it is. You got full mount. He covered up. I don't think he had the opportunity or ability to strike back. So you basically just worked strikes until you got the finish. Talk about that.
Well, first, let me start by saying happy birthday, Mike Wilkins. It is his birthday today. Best coach I ever had. I mean, along with Will, but best coach I've had. I love you, big guy. I double unders into a trip. I think I transitioned to his back, and then I swept his leg a certain way, and then I fell in the mount. I'm sorry, I'm not like explaining this like super
No, it's
technical. I'll
perfect.
leave that to
Perfect.
Will. Yeah, I'll leave that to Will and Mike. But like, yeah, I transitioned. I fell right in the mount, and believe it or not, the shots I was throwing was more like, hey, he's not defending himself, Chip. Get him out of here. Like, he's not elbow escaping. He's not going for the underhook. Like, he's content just covering up. Like, save him, you know? So, like, those shots were like little pitter patter shots. And then, like, Hustleton, being the tough guy he is, he's trying to strike me from a non-dominant position. I'm just like, this guy's crazy, Love that guy. I need to catch up with him, get a beer with him or something, Love that guy. But anyways, yeah, he's trying to strike me from a non-dominant position. So I'm like, okay, so I'm fending off his hands. I'm trying to throw a precision shot like temple, maybe the ear, equilibrium, definitely the chin. I caught him with one. He switched to the other side, and I just started the process over again. Like, hey, Chip, what do you? At one point, I think I looked at him like, yo, what do you save him? And it was the last shot. It was the last shot. And it was an uppercut, I believe. It was an uppercut, and it bent his torso back. And Chip was like, "Oh, okay, it's done. He had enough." But yeah, I will say this is my favorite fight out of all four of my fights. I've watched this back at least 6 times, because there's there's a lesson. There's a few lessons in there, right? My training partners are usually 6'2" and up, right? So I'm used to sparring taller people. So like when it comes to fighting or sparring someone shorter than me, I didn't get that look too often. And I need to spar shorter people, because Custom was able to get into my range very quickly. Even though I surprised myself. I was defending pretty well. Like when I got into trouble, like just all the training that Will's been teaching me all these years just started, taking in effect. I clinched, if you know clinching, most people don't. Like that plum tie, you make them carry your body weight,
Oh yeah. Oh,
right? So if I'm 230 pounds and I'm pulling on your head and I'm pulling on your head more force, I'm making you carry my body with your neck, which is going to make you more tired, right?
oh yeah.
So I think that was a factor in the slowing him down, because he was very powerful. He was pushing me around the ring. He was very strong, very strong. But yeah, great time. My favorite fight so far.
Well, I appreciate all those insights. I was cage side and got to see and hear the different power level, like you were talking about. There was some pitter patter on the ground. I could hear it and see it, that it was light. And then, as you said, I think the other thing that really changed Skip's perspective is those last couple punches, they had more force. It's like the difference between, like you were saying, and then really leaning into it and getting force as he rolled to sort of a side hip, like he was kind of on a side. That one
Yeah.
last punch really got in through his protection. It was a great stoppage and kind of allowed you a lot of looks. Like you said, you now have stoppage victories in round one, round two, round three, and now round three as well. And your last two fights, I'm trying to remember your fight with Caldwell. Did you finish him in the third round or the second? The Caldwell fight.
Second.
Second. Okay.
Early second.
Yeah, I got you. Okay, because Caldwell, up until Hustleton, Caldwell was your fight where he had 2 wins, 2 knockouts. You had 2 wins, 2 knockouts, and that brought you up to 3 wins by 3 knockouts, and now 4 wins by 4 knockouts. I was just trying to process that. So we're only a couple days away from Christmas. 2024 is right around the corner. I got to interview in the cage for 247. Obviously, 247 Fighting Championships, Burgh 19 was incredible. They've already announced that they have 8 signed fights. They're not saying what they are, but I'm sure you've been following that 247 has 8 signed fights for Brawl in the Burgh 20, which is going to be in Murrayville. Are you looking to get on that card? Is there anything you can talk about yet, or are we going to have to wait till 2024 to bring you back on the show to talk about whatever's next for you?
Well, my plan was, catch weight February, like 195, and then go pro in April. Um, but I gotta talk to Mike. Mike might have other plans. Who knows?
Yeah, no, that's fine. And as far as you're saying, your current plan, obviously Mike Wilkins and Coach Will, they get to weigh in on that clearly. But for you, would a 195 catch weight be to go pro at some point at 185? Is that the trajectory that you're thinking?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I believe 185 is gonna be my division.
Yeah, you had said that. I'm trying to remember which. I think it was after you fought Caldwell, and of course Caldwell was 6'2" or 6'3" and kind of a bigger, as far as frame goes. And
Yeah.
after that, you took care of him, obviously in the second round with the KO. But you said that you're, targeting 185 makes a lot of sense. This is kind of reverse, but for people that don't know, this fight ended up being a catch weight due to like last minute changes that needed to be done for your opponent. What was it? What was that like for you? It was supposed to be a 205. I think it ended up happening at 215 or 210. What was that like for you? And obviously I give you credit for still taking the fight, making it work despite the last minute change.
Well, first thing is, I needed my fight. I need to get my fights in so I can go pro. That's first thing. Second thing is, I'm helping 247 out by keeping, ball rolling with, all their fights and stuff like that. And I wasn't gonna bring up the whole him missing weight thing, but he did. He missed weight. I depleted myself, made it all the way down to 205, and I think he came in at like 212. And I honestly believe if he would have made 205, some of those shots would have put him out in the first round. I mean, I had the night to recover. He had the night to recover, but like, I just feel like I would have ended it a lot sooner, because we were brawling, but more of my shots were cleaner. But yeah, I had to go up a weight class to fight Hustleton, and I'm happy I did it. Great
Okay.
competitor.
Yeah, yeah, and that shows some of the behind the scenes, obviously making a change going up after you were already down to 205. You made the fight work, you put on a great show, and Hustleton, for his credit, was a great competitor for you. You both benefited. Obviously, he lost, but he put on Facebook, he learned a lot, he liked the fight. You guys are friendly with each other. There's no animosity there. And so yeah, I give you credit for staying. Like sometimes that's the hard part, making a decision to take a fight, going back up because of trying to get your fights in. The game plan worked clearly. Like you said, in some ways, since your plan is to eventually go to 85, the fact that you made 205 again because you made it before, for the big picture is probably a good thing. Since you're gonna next look for 195, you got to kind of work on your weight and what works for you. So big picture was probably okay this time to go 205, bounce back up just because you're working on your body and figuring things out. Obviously, 2024 could be very exciting for you, particularly if it does end up having your pro debut in it, which will be absolutely incredible. I'm pumped. I always like to mention the legendary Jim Mooney, head matchmaker for 247. I know he's always thinking things through, so I'm sure this will be exciting. He probably already knows your game plan, but sometimes he does watch these videos. Hi, Jim, and kind of thinks what fighters want to do. But obviously, I know everything runs through Mike Wilkins. Whatever you end up fighting next for 247, I'm pumped. I'm excited. You don't usually get this dominant of a buildup in amateur, and you've been doing everything right. This is the second advanced amateur fight you had. And so technically this was the longest fight you went because of the way the time runs, because you had a 3-minute, you had a 3-round fight, but that was when it was 2 minutes. So to wrap up, how did you feel in there cardio wise? You already mentioned sort of, figuring out, but how did you feel being able to go longer, particularly because advanced amateur and then pro will have you go even longer?
Well, first, I would like to shout out Vince Ming. He helped me cut weight. believe it or not, it was a bad weight cut. I had a terrible weight cut. I was if you would have seen me, you would have been like, we should probably get him some medical attention. But you know, he sat in with me. He pushed me. I got the last pounds off. And it's funny because he came in to Stout just to lift. He ended up spending the whole day in there with me. So, a big shout out to him. Um, I'm so sorry. What was the question?
No, that's fine. I appreciate you sharing about the weight. You're working on your weight and the weight cut. You looked great in there. Clearly, you've got some things to figure out going forward. Yes, sir. Go ahead. Jump in.
I remember. Oh, okay. So cardio wise, I felt good. I felt like I could have finished the third round. I felt like I could have went 4 and 5, to be honest with you. But yeah. I definitely have some things to work on, and can't wait to do it again. It was so much fun.
You're such a fun fighter to watch. You're very entertaining. You come from a great gym that always has a bunch of fans out there. And it's not too late for those out there that don't yet know Go James Padmore. Now's the time to jump on the train. After a 4-0 start with 4 knockouts, you don't really usually get a better amateur. I actually haven't looked at the Tapology ratings, but I would imagine you're at the #1 in Pennsylvania.
Number 1.
There you go. #1 in Pennsylvania and probably top 15 in the region, I would guess. I haven't looked.
3.
Oh, wow. That's incredible.
Well, I mean, technically I'm 1 because the 2 guys that are ahead of me, they're going pro. Okay. But whatever.
So there it is. Yeah, because Tapology looks at, they don't always get everything right, but I give them a lot of credit for computing all that they do. They keep track of a lot of amateur fighters and pro fighters, and they do look at strength of your opponents. And I've mentioned Caldwell a couple times tonight. He was 2-0. You were 2-0. You knocked him out. That's a big deal, right? That helps your ranking because you're taking out somebody that has great record. Chris Hustleton coming in this fight, obviously coming off an incredible sub-minute knockout of his own. And so, all that stuff they look at and they say, hey, this guy not only has 4 fights, 4 knockouts, that's impressive enough, but you have 4 fights, 4 knockouts against other guys who are knocking people out. And that's how that ranking really comes together. So should have introduced you as top ranked in the region and in Pennsylvania. So congratulations. What a great way to wrap up 2023. I really appreciate you coming on. Do you have anybody to thank, whether it's sponsors or people in your gym? I know you already mentioned Vince. And if you don't already have sponsors, this is a great time to mention that this is an awesome opportunity to sponsor Go James Padmore, as you can't really have a better amateur career than you're putting together.
Yeah. Anybody out there wants to sponsor me, that'll be cool. I guess I'm looking for management too. I don't know. I'm just going with the flow. Like I just love what I do. Like I'll do it for free. I mean, first couple fights I was doing it for free.
Don't say that once you're pro.
Oh yeah.
Just one more. They get one more for free. Yeah.
Yeah. One more free. But yeah. I think that's all I got. I mean, thank Mike, Will, Schaefer. A guy on my team, he drove me to weigh-ins. He was with me when I was sick. He spent all his money to rehydrate me, Gatorade, water, bought me bananas. He babied me. Hey, eat that fruit. Eat the fruit, man. You're killing yourself. Eat the fruit. I'm all right, man. I got you. He was treating me like I was drunk, but whatever. So yeah, Schaefer. I guess just Stout for shouting me out, and I could go on and on. Sure. So I'll leave it there.
I appreciate it. It's a great shout out. All those people are important to the process. Congratulations again. Just a great way to wrap up 2023 for you. I'm honored to have you be the last interview before the Christmas holidays. So Merry Christmas again to everybody. It's been awesome having you on. Go James Padmore with Luke Basin for MMA Fancast. Everybody have a very, very Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
You got it.